Hello and welcome to another episode of the Top Dogs podcast here on the Field of 68 Media Network. My name is Rob Doster, and we have to talk about a win of the fog. UConn goes on the road, knocks off number 21 Kansas, despite the fact that they did not have Darren Peterson available. I don't think that that is something that is going to be too relevant when it comes to the conversation of what this win means in March, and I fully expect Kansas to continue improving and get to the point where they look like a top 10 to 15 team in college basketball once you get to the end of the season. And I think this win is going to age like wine. I think that it was something that was really impressive, and there are things that you can take away from this that should make you feel really, really good about where UConn is right now. Let's start with this. Final score was 61-56. UConn used a 22-10 surge midway through the second half to turn a 39-33 deficit into a 55-49 lead, and they were able to hang on for the win down the stretch in pretty impressive fashion. I'll tell you why here in a second. Solo Brawl had 17 points. Braylon Mullins had 17 points. Alex Carabin had a really big second half. He scored 7 straight there at one point to kind of lift the lid off of UConn when they were a little bit in the doldrums there. And I thought Eric Ribo was absolutely sensational as the only big guy that was available in this game. I guess Dwayne Caroma played as well, but Eric Ribo was the guy that was going to be asked to play 30 minutes, and he finished with 12 points, 8 boards, couple blocks, couple steals, finished around the rim. Stayed out of foul trouble for the most part. I thought he was terrific. You beat Kansas without Darren Peterson, and I do think that is that's a pretty significant asterisk that you have to put on that win. He changes everything for them. More than more than what Terrace does for UConn. Darren Peterson, what he provides that team is on a different level. You saw how much they struggled offensively in the second half and long stretches. And there's one thing that he does, and that is find ways to be able to score. So, as a result, I do believe that this win is going to age very, very, very well. But what has me so excited about this and has me so bullish on UConn is they won this game with their defense. They won it with their toughness. They won it with execution in an absolutely brutal environment to go play a college basketball game. They withstood a run and they didn't fold. In a very difficult moment down the stretch where we've seen them in a couple of other games kind of have issues closing out and issues dealing with a little bit of game pressure late. And what I mean is Solo Ball hits a pull-up jumper, then he hits a three. UConn extends their lead to 55-49 with about 6 minutes left. And Kansas responds. They get a dunk from Flory. Melvin Council knocks down a three. And all of a sudden, you're at the under 4 timeout. UConn is up by a point. And that place is just absolutely going bonkers and losing its mind. And then Kansas has 3 possessions, right? 3 possessions where they have a chance to take the lead, and UConn's defense was able to hold firm. They won on execution. They were able to run their offense a little bit. They were able to take advantage of some blown coverages in the switches where some of the movement off the ball got Kansas confused. A couple of back cuts got messed up. And they were able to find an open man and get 2 layups there to extend the lead to 59-54. It's kind of all mathematical from there. But that the ability to close out that game and come through defensively on big, big, big possessions is just enormous, man. And the fact that that run started, right, when it got to 39-33, both Solo Ball and Silas Demery were taken out and put on the bench. And that run was created in a moment where Malachi Smith was on the floor, Jaden Ross was on the floor, Braylon Mullins was on the floor. Obviously, Eric Ribo was on the floor. And they were able to find a way to make a surge with the guys that weren't necessarily the best players on this roster or the stars or the guys that are going to be expected to be the biggest names and that you would normally think you would count on going into Fall Allen Fieldhouse and winning a game like that. So really, really, really impressive to do it right by doing the little things that matter, right? And I think that that is important because eventually the talent part, the offensive part, the kind of game-changing player part of this is going to figure itself out. There's a couple things I want to get through here, and I'll be honest if I'm a little bit scatterbrained, right? I'm recording this at about 9 a.m. on Wednesday morning. We finished the show last night, a little after 1:30 in the morning. About an hour of just kind of finishing some stuff up and getting some stuff ready for, to be pushed out throughout the morning. And then up at 7:30 in the morning this morning to be able to help get my kids out of bed and onto the bus and dressed. So I apologize if I'm a little bit scatterbrained, but um, I think I would say that four of UConn's top five right now have not quite figured it out the way that you want them to be able to figure it out. Let's start with Solo, right? I thought he actually shot it better last night and shot it well. He's getting closer to being the guy. Like I think that we're going to see eventually here some absolute blow up games. He had a couple of bad misses, ones that hit the backboard before they hits the rim, which is never a good sign. But the two biggest shots of the night came from Solo ball. He had a pull up to make it 52-49 with about 6.5 minutes left. And on the very next possession, he was set up for a three running off a screen that he knocked down to put UConn up six with under 6 minutes left. And those two shots are what put the Huskies in a spot to be able to win this game. He was 3 for 7 from three on the night. I'll take it, considering the opponent, considering the location, considering the way that the crowd was into that game. I think that's the best that he's played for 40 minutes so far this season, and it is massive to see him kind of develop a little bit of that confidence, right? Making those two big shots in the clutch. That's what UConn is going to have to rely on, right? A lot of what they're going to do offensively is going to be betting on these great shooters being able to make shots, being able to make jump shots, being able to make threes. And uh, they're going to have to make them in clutch moments because that is what UConn's going to run and some of the offense are going to try to create. So we'll get to that in a second. But um, Solo's backcourt mate, Silas Demery, not so much, man. He's still trying to figure this thing out. I think he's still thinking too much. You can tell that it's one of those things where he's trying to figure out how to be able to process the game and process the system and understand where the opportunities for his shots and the opportunities that the offense will create are going to open up within this system. And he's still thinking it through in the moment instead of just kind of reading and reacting and playing within the system. And he's getting closer, right? And I think that at the end, when they got those two slips and they got a couple of wide open layups at the rim, a lot of that was a result of Demery starting to kind of piece it together here and there. But you can tell that it's still, I coach my son's 10U team. For anyone that's coached youth sports, the hardest part is when you get into a game setting and the player goes to try to do something and there's a little bit of a hesitancy and you see them kind of look at you and look to the sideline like, is this what I'm supposed to do? Yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. All right, I'm going to go do it. Instead of just seeing that the situation and going and trying to make a play and be an athlete. And I think that's kind of where obviously it's a very different level playing for UConn than playing for 10U travel basketball, but that's kind of, I think, where he is right now when it comes to operating within the offense. Now, what I will say is um, the effort is there, right? The first 3 minutes of the game, he won two possessions for the Huskies. He forced a turnover, and then he was on the floor creating a jump ball. He forced a jump ball late in the game that changed the possession arrow and allowed UConn to keep possession later on in that game. Um, he will the tip in, right? The tip in that made it 50-47, where he just kind of slipped into the front of the rim and was able to get a putback. Like he is out there competing his nuts off. The effort is there, the defense is there, the desire is there, the want to is there. All the stuff that you ask from a player as a coach is there. The next step is to get him to understand what he's supposed to be able to do. The way that I would phrase it is that the non-negotiables are present with Silas Demery. It's about getting them up to speed within the offense. And that takes time. And that is a process when you are the point guard in a system as complicated as what UConn runs. He will get there. I have no doubt that he's going to get there. And when he does, I think it changes a lot. You're going to hear from Dan Hurley on the bus to the airport here after the break. But the one thing that he said, I think he said it a couple times with Silas, is that I'm not sure he's not sure where his eyes need to be, meaning that when you're in this system and when you're running this offense, he's not quite sure yet where those openings are going to pop up. And once that happens and once he gets a better feel, that is going to be the game changing time, man. Um, the freshmen, the freshmen were just unbelievable. I think Braylon was some of the shots that he made were just incredible, right? In terms of the moment that he was in. I think that, funny enough, 17 points in the fog in your second college game, um, and you go to the line up by three with 9 seconds left and make two free throws to ice it like it's nothing. Like you're just shooting in your backyard as a freshman in front of that crowd on national television in that moment is that is it takes a set of cojones to be able to do that. Um, I don't think that he's quite yet the fully finished version of himself. Like there were a couple moments where the one that sticks out to me is there's in the second half he makes a drive to the baseline and like he tries to pull up and you can see the ball kind of bounce off his hands. It looks like the he's still a little bit rusty when it comes to some stuff like that, but the shots are going down. And I'll tell you what, I think the most important thing, maybe for his season, was banking in that three, because you could tell that he was rushing a little bit. You could tell that some of the shots that he was taking were just going a little bit over the rim, like he was a little too excited about the moment. And you come in and you bank into three, and it's just like, oh shit, all right. So that just happened. You got a smile on your face, you're laughing, it kind of loosens you, right? It changes a little bit of the vibe. And I think he went down and he made a layup on the next possession, and then a couple possessions later, banged home a three that helped UConn. Like it was a big part of why UConn went from being down eight early on when El Marco Jackson and Jamari McDowell really got going to being able to get kind of settled in. So he's going to be terrific, man. And the idea of those three guys in the backcourt, Silas, Solo, and Braylon, like I don't. Whew, you better have three guys that can really, really guard on your perimeter. Terrace Reed was out today, obviously, or out last night, obviously. And he now has a week to try to get himself ready to be able to compete against Florida. I think they really need him for Florida. As good as Riba is, um, that Kansas front line is different than what the Florida front line is going to be. Florida has like three or four bigs that can really pound the glass, that can really move, that put you in really difficult situations. They're just serious like workhorses, man. And you're going to need that extra body. You're going to need the 20 minutes from Terrace Reed, especially when you consider that like Florida's three man is Tommy Hawk, and Tommy Hawk is a 6'9", like kind of 3/4 that can get on the offensive glass and that can overpower people in and around the paint. And same thing with Alex Condon, who's going to have to be dealing with Alex Carabin. Like you got two guys right there that are going to be really, really difficult for you kind of match up with. You need all the size you can get. You need Terrace Reed to give you 20 minutes. Hopefully he'll be able to be there by then. But Ryba was sensational. I don't know how much you could say about him, man. 12 points, 8 boards, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Didn't really get in foul trouble too much. Finished around the bucket when it was set up for him. Did a really good job limiting Flory Badunga's ability to kind of get over that right shoulder and to his left hand. Kind of kept Flory in check. Flory's been terrific this season, and it's really really promising just be able to think about a situation where UConn will be able to play 25, 26, 27 minutes of Terrace Reed, and then 13, 14, 15 minutes of Eric Ryba and not have any drop off. That's what they had the years they won the national championship, and that's what UConn has right now. What I will say is this, okay? Um, when Terrace Reed gets back, I think that changes the way that you can defend UConn. I don't think you can switch everything 1 through 5 when Terrace Reed is back, because Terrace Reed, if you when you switch a guard onto him, it's just going to put him under the basket and put him through the rim, and it's going to be a mouse in the house. And UConn will be able to take advantage of it because he is so good at sealing, so good at getting position, and so good at being able to just kind of catch and finish once he gets down there. Um, he is the guy that can win the one-on-one battles for you. And I think, you know, there is one concern that I have. Well, let me say it like this. Okay. Once he is back and he is able to take advantage of those matchups, I am not quite sure what you do defensively against this group, because Alex Caravan puts you in a situation where if you're going to try to play big, it means you're going to have a big that has to chase him around screens. And that is a nightmare to deal with, because he is so good at being able to read screens. He is so good at being able to set up defenders uh, to think that they're trailing a screen and have to go over it and create himself situations where he can kind of like fade into a wide open three and knock it down. He's really good at being able to slip if somebody overplays the screen or tries to cheat the play and find himself getting a couple layups at the rim. And it's easier for, like, he's basically a power forward that moves off of screens like he's a guard. And that is a difficult thing for other power forwards to deal with. And I think we saw that a little bit with Bryson Tiller late in the second half. We obviously saw it on Friday night with David Mirkovic, trying to deal with chasing him around. He is the guy that creates those mismatches there, because you're going to have to make a decision. You're either going to have to say, okay, we have to hope that we can win that matchup when we throw the ball into whoever Caravan is guarding on the block, more than he wins it by making a bigger player chase him around on the perimeter, or you got to go small and you got to go match up with UConn and play UConn's game, which I don't think is something that'll work. And the other part of it is you have three guys that now are that elite when it comes to running off of screens that you have to be completely aware of in Solo Ball, Braylon Mullins, and Alex Caravan. And once Silas Demery gets going, and Solo Ball, if he is the solo that he was on Tuesday night, and Braylon Mullins is playing, you know, continues to grow from where he was on Tuesday, like, one of those three guys is going to be going up against your worst perimeter defender. And what is that guy going to do? How are you going to stop them? How are you going to deal with that? Like, I think the answer is to be able to kind of funnel everything to the middle and make these guys hit pull-up jumpers around the rim. And that works if you got a Kalkbrenner, or you got a Mateus Krivas, or I would say even a Tommy Ivasic, like someone that can really, really take up space and protect the rim. But even that is something that uh, is you're going to be relying on UConn missing those pull-up jumpers from about 15 feet. And UConn doesn't love the midi, but I'll tell you who loves the midi right now, and that is Solo Ball. He's been terrific at being able to get to his spots and knock those down. Um, I think what you have to try to do is dare them to be able to go finish at the rim, right? Maybe even instead of playing a deep drop, you're playing a little bit of a less of a drop, but still, you do that and you're risking the lobs going over the top to Terrace Reed and Eric Riba. Um, the one profile that UConn, I don't know if they have in this team, is a downhill driver that can put his head down and go finish at the rim. Um, I think that Silas can be that guy eventually, but Silas is 6'3", 190. Steph Castle was 6'6", 225. So it's a little bit different, but I don't think that should matter. It just, once they get going offensively, I don't know what you do to stop them. And if Braylon's going to be what he was defensively today, and Alex is going to be physical enough defensively, and they are going to be able to get on the defensive glass, I just, I mean, they're out here winning these games. Silas Demery isn't playing well. They don't have Terrace Reed and Braylon Mullins, who probably has been their best offensive weapon so far through, who was their best offensive weapon in the summer and the fall, is just now finding a way to kind of get back and get healthy. I know I'm biased, and I hear people say this all the time, and I try to be as objective as possible when it comes to stuff like this. But I, as good as Michigan has looked, as good as we know Purdue is, UConn even losing at home to Arizona. I don't think that there is a team in college basketball that is going to be better than the UConn Huskies. That doesn't mean they can't get beat. That doesn't mean that they won't be a national champion. And that doesn't mean necessarily that they are the best. But I don't think that there is a group that once UConn hits the ground running, I don't think that there is a team that is out and out better than them. And that is a really, really fun spot to be in as a UConn fan. And considering what the rest of the Big East looks like, I think there's a very real chance that UConn is going into Selection Sunday once again as a 1 seed with a chance to be able to win a national championship. And I, for one, will not be complaining about that. Let's get into, we're going to go to a break here real quick, but on the other side of the break, you're going to hear from Dan Hurley, who called into After Dark last night while sitting on the team bus on the way to the airport. And I'll also play and just drop in there some of the thoughts. I was joined by Goodman and Norm Roberts, who's a former Kansas coach who knows Hurley really well as Thomas Robinson, who was a first-team All-American for the Jayhawks, top 5 pick to the Kings back in, I want to say, 2012, played in the Final Four. So we're going to hear the conversation that we all had about that game and some of the reaction there coming up after the break. As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, you sign up using bonus code FIELD, you deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. There is no sport in America that is more difficult to follow than college basketball. It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for injury updates, recruiting news, and transfer portal additions that actually matter. For just $50 a year, get access to the same information that your favorite team's coaching staff is subscribed for. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help you with that. Well, welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. We are live here. It is Tuesday night. It was one of the best nights of college basketball that we are going to have this season. And we are going to dive into here UConn's win at Kansas. The final score there was 61-56. Hopefully we're going to be getting a guest here soon in a minute. We'll see if that ends up coming to fruition. But I think the story of this game was the pieces that were missing, right? Kansas didn't have Darren Peterson. UConn didn't have Terrace Reed. And I do think that the overarching thought that I have, and I'm going to start with you guys on the Kansas side, Norman T. Rob. I thought the biggest story for me was that these offensive droughts that Kansas has, they do all the other stuff. They don't really have a guy that can just go get you one at the end of a clock. And that is obviously what Darren Peterson can do, Norm. Are you feeling better about this group now, seeing what they're doing, seeing the way that they can compete, some of the role players stepping up in his absence in the last couple of games, like what they did in Las Vegas here? Do you feel better about this spot, or are you starting to get a little bit worried about, okay, he's not going to be able to solve everything offensively?
No, I feel better. I feel better about the team. I do think they have guys that are stepping up, guys that are making plays that need to be made. You know, in tonight's game, when you think about it, they had 3 bad possessions defensively in the last 2 minutes that gave UConn the burst. They made some mistakes on switches, which gave them easy shots, and and give UConn credit, they run great offense, and that killed them. But otherwise, they played nip and tuck with one of the best teams in the country without their best player, who makes the game easier for everybody. He makes it easier for Badunga inside. He makes it easier for Tiller. He makes it easier on the guards, everything, because he can score. He can set people up. He's got great size. He makes them even better defensively because of his size. Being 6'5" with a 7-foot wingspan, he makes them even better defensively. So I feel better about Kansas, where they are and where they're going to go.
T-Rob?
Yeah, same. I couldn't agree anymore. I think after Vegas, I gained a lot of confidence in this team because I'm pretty sure after that Duke loss a couple weeks back, the whole preaching from coach was probably toughness, especially with DP being out. Finding some guys who are going to step into their role and and finding identity for when he does come back. So I think guys did that. I think they went to Vegas. I think they responded more than well. I think the bigs are coming along. Guys like Trey White, who didn't have a good game tonight, but I've been proud of his role that he's been stepping into and trying to be a bigger scorer for the team. I'm happy about Marco Jackson right now. That's probably my biggest excitement. I've been waiting for him to kind of get rolling, get his confidence going, because he's a big piece for Kansas, especially coming off the bench. So I see this team right now, like I said, connecting late conference time going into March, and that's perfect timing to me. Right now, I like what we're doing. I like that as I'm on the team. I like that we I like that we're growing consistently around the board. So when DP does come back, he's going to open up a lot of pieces for us. The shooting, with him being such a big attention on threat on the offensive end. So, I'm happy, man. We still got guys like Cole, who we waiting for to start knocking down some shots. So there's room for development, and I feel like they definitely got better, with DP being out.
All right, so Norm, I got two questions for you. Number one is I've gotten a ton of people reaching out to me today specifically, but it's kind of built up of like, what's going on with Darren Peterson? What the hell is going on? What's taking so long? And I've been the one to say all along, like, hey, it's a hammy. You got to play this thing safe, because if you don't, he's going to be out another 6 weeks if he comes back too quick and pops this thing again. So try to get Kansas fans off the ledge with that, number one. Norm. Number two, this is great. The supporting cast looks better. Kansas is not playing and never has played for a Sweet 16. Is this team capable of going to a Final Four and winning a national title if Darren Peterson does come back healthy? Or are we talking about, hey, you know what? Rah, we're going to be happy. We'll get to the second weekend and that'll be hunky-dory.
Well, to answer your first question, I think you're dead right in what you're saying. When you're dealing with a hamstring, that is a very, very sensitive area. And the bottom line is, if you put him out there too quick, you could lose him for 6 to 8 weeks, or you can lose him for the whole year. Okay, so we're just beginning the season. You have to be careful with him. Make sure he's fully healthy to get back, can deal with the strain of playing tough games. Like, it's not like he's going to be playing in games against weak competition. They've got a tough schedule coming up. Yeah. So it's not like you're going to say, okay, we only need you to play 15 minutes here. No, they're going to need him to play. So they got to make sure he's healthy enough to sustain himself, to stay out there and fight through injury. I would also tell you this. I think with Darren Peterson and the way the team is getting better and better, they do have a chance to get to a Final Four. The biggest thing is, and everybody knows this in coaching, when you get into the NCAA tournament, it's all about who you're going to play, where you're going to be seated. Okay? So if you're seated in the right spot, you get the right competition you're playing against, the right opponents, you can move on. You can move on. It happens every year for everybody. But I think the good thing with Kansas is they're going to play such a tough schedule. They're going to be prepared for anything that can be thrown at them. And then hopefully these guys that are playing a lot of minutes now, when Darren's out, it's only going to help them grow and get better. And, obviously, the Big 12's a beast. The Big 12, I was talking to Bill Self the other day. It's not the top of the league that's so good. It's the bottom of the league that is pretty darn good. So there's no off nights in the Big 12 at all. So they know that. They got to make sure he's healthy.
Yeah,
One thing I
Norm, we'll
wanted
get to
to
the
add.
other thing. T-Rob, hold on one second. We'll get to
I'm
that part in a second. We're now, I do think that we do have our guest here joining us now off of the win. Yes, it's UConn head coach Dan Hurley off the win. Dan, I'm going to let you know right now, Goodwin might have set you up because we have former Kansas assistant Norm Roberts, former Kansas star Thomas Robinson here on with us. Congratulations on the win. What can you make out of this victory going into Fog Allen and winning that game?
Yeah, I'm just happy those guys weren't out there because Norm beat my ass. Norm beat my ass a couple of years ago in that building, and T-Rob, I didn't want any part of that monster right there. Yeah,
Appreciate you, my
I
guy.
mean, I think for us, it's just I think the team's ability, to win it with our defense. I think it's last year. I think our offense has not been as good as we thought it would be to this point. Obviously, not having Taris to throw it into a lot, not having Braylon really available tonight until tonight is kind of hurt. Solo shooting slump. I mean, a lot of things have affected where we're at offensively. But what excites me about the team is the defensive potential. Like we've got the defensive potential to win games, at that end of the court, and that's what killed us last year.
Hey, Dan, after you lost to Arizona, I could tell how you felt about this team because I've never seen you that, I don't know if happy was the word, but like you were smiling after that loss at home to Arizona because you knew what you had. And you get Braylon Mullins out there tonight, and Eric was really good that night and even better tonight playing extended minutes. Like when you get Taris back, I've said it, I think you might be the best team in the country. I know Michigan's looked unbelievable so far. Obviously, Arizona was really good against you guys. But do you feel like, hey, this team has the potential to be as good or in the equation with those national title teams?
Yeah, I think that's why you probably – I mean, the Kansas fans might not agree tonight that I was calm on the sideline, but, I do. I feel like, I feel like I mean, they were chanting, they were ready for me. But, I think that, the team, I've spent enough time around the team to know, that, we've got the two centers. I mean, what Eric Ryba did tonight, to be able to play Flory even on the road, and Flory's a problem. He's one of the best offensive rebounders. It's hard to keep off his right shoulder. He's a monster in the roll game. So, we know that we're, when Taris, that wasn't me. When Taris gets when Taris gets healthy, we're going to have that two center rotation that that we were able to build championship teams around. Just getting Braylon back in that lineup, being able to put Braylon and Solo and Alex Caravan on the perimeter around the 2 point guards that we believe in and the two centers, and then the wing depth off the bench that we've got. I got a
I think we got him
Go
back.
ahead. Yeah, we got him back.
Hey, Danny, how you doing, man? Congratulations on the win, bud. One thing I would ask you is, did you say something to Caravan when he won down that 7-0 run? I mean, that was huge. That was huge for you guys, I thought. And he really played off the shot fake. He made the deep three. But did you say something to him in the huddle or to get him going?
I was just looking at him. I think it's just kind of give each other looks. It's like, and my message in the huddle was like, in the second half, we're fighting. We're competing with a lot of honor, and we're staying together. We're making a lot of winning plays and a lot of toughness plays and a real slugfest type of game. If you guys want to win the game, you got to go. Got to go make some shots. You got to go make some plays on offense. You got to cut. You got to roll. You got to step into a three. We're fighting hard, but which is great and it's admirable. But if you guys want to win the game, AK, you got to go make a shot. Solo, you got to go make a shot.
Go ahead, T-Rob.
Okay, yeah. Congrats on the win, Coach.
I know that hurts, man. Look at it. I can read your face. You don't mean that.
But no, Coach. I've seen in the past that you preach that you believe getting your bigs and having your bigs healthy all year would be one of the main keys to getting back to, hanging banners. So outside of that, of course, we're getting a guy like, Ray back 20 and 10. Outside of that, what do you think this team has to do to become, champs again?
Yeah, I think there's, as tough as it was for us to play against them, switching everything tonight. Obviously, they had a lot of prep. I mean, they got done in Vegas pretty early, so they had a pretty lengthy prep to work on switching a lot of our stuff. But so I would say, I would just say Silas and Malachi being able to understand our actions and get their eyes in the right places to be able to, like, we missed on a lot of slips today that we should have turned into points. Or, so I would say getting these two quarterbacks to be able to, get their eyes in the right place in our offense.
Yeah, I like Malachi. He's been a big spark for you guys coming off the bench this year. So hopefully he can stay in that role.
The New York.
Yeah, you know how hard that is to tame, man. So
every team needs it, though. You don't need a bunch of choir boys over there. I could use a couple wild dudes, man.
Yeah, he might be looking at the rim before the row.
That's why we got T-Rob on here. We needed a wild dude.
Yeah, I need to spark the space out.
Where is Goodman?
Dan, last thing I got for you, then we'll.
I'm in Charleston. What do you mean, where am I? Where do you think I am? I'm down here.
Because I can't.
Down here in the warm weather.
Is he on the screen right now?
He's hiding from you. He's ducking the smoke, man.
I want to glare at him again. I just wanted to glare at him.
Last thing I got for you, then we'll let you get out of here, man. Silas Demery. We see the talent. You see it in flashes. It looks like he's kind of thinking a little too much out there instead of just getting out there and playing. How do you get him to the point where he is the guy that we know he can be?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's a process. It was a process for Tristan Newton. I do think he's ahead of where T-New was, kind of this time in his first year. But, like, we ask a lot out of the point guard. Like we run the things we run on offense, and there's some complexity to it. And again, it's having your eyes in the right place and being able to, deliver and execute in the half court when we're trying to run certain things, but then also being able to pick your own spots and play off script and create in transition or when things break down. I just think, he's flashed his capabilities. His on-ball defense has changed the complexity of our team defense being, I think it's going to be championship level, and he's a big part in that. And, he'll master playing quarterback for us.
Hey, Dan, we saw each other twice in Boston and in stores a couple weeks ago. Do you miss me?
I wasn't looking for you today. I wasn't in the press conference saying, like, where's Jeff Goodman? I want a question from Jeff Goodman. It's always nice to see you, I guess.
When you're not
being an asshole, All right. We go way back. It's all good. We're working on it.
We go back. Hey, we go way back to when I was ranking you number one when you were at St. Benedict's when you didn't even deserve it.
That's right. Some of those teams. Oh my God, I appreciate. You know what? You're right.
You have to think about it.
Hell of a win. Anytime you go into Fog Island and get a win, man, you should be celebrating. So good to see you, man. We'll talk soon.
Great win, Coach.
Appreciate it. Later, boys.
Thanks, Dan.
Later.
That's head coach Dan Hurley. Let's go real quick here. I want each of your guys just thoughts on UConn and kind of what they can be this season. Norm, we'll start with you first, and T-Rob, then Goodman.
I think they can be a tremendous team, and I think the influx of Braylon Mullins tonight was a key. I don't think they win the game in Allen if they don't have Braylon Mullins. That guy made some big shots. He's only going to get better. He's got great size. He actually defended pretty good as well. And the kid, Eric Ryby. Ryby's going to be a good force for them. He's got good touch around the basket. So when they get Reed back and get everybody going, and Silas Demery's going to get better. He's going to get better. He didn't look to score as much tonight. He is a talented guy. But a key guy for them is Malachi Smith. That guy is a jet, and he's tough. He's really, really tough. So, and I think they got everything they need to be a team that can get to the Final Four and win it all.
Yeah, same. I like them. I like them overall. I do want to see some things of room of improvement. Like I know Ball right now, he was one of the best shooters in the nation last year, and right now he's not really shooting it to his standard. I would like to see him going. Guy like Malachi Smith, like I mentioned, I love him coming off the bench for Kentucky, kind of play that 6-man role, come off, give him a spark and score. So I want to see him stay in his role also, which I think will help UConn down the road. And Demery Jr., I love his game. I love that he does a little bit of everything. He damn near could walk off the floor with a triple-double, and, I love guys like that. So this team has plenty of room to grow, and which I think, once again, they're going to be very dangerous come March. But if they see us again, they will lose. So I just want to – but we'll be a good team come March, man.
They got everything. They got everything you need to win another title. That's why I asked them that. They got multiple shooters now with Solo Ball and Mullins. They got the bigs that they kind of had, obviously, when they were winning the titles. They've got depth. The only thing that, again, and Rob asked him at the end, the only thing he really needs to come along is Silas Demery to be consistent. But I love that they have
and
Malachi
that takes
Smith
them overboard.
Yeah. I just think when you look at every team around the country and you say when this team is healthy, I think they have the fewest amount of weaknesses. And then you throw the coach in there. You throw a Hall of Fame coach in there who's already won 2 titles in the last few years. Yeah, honestly, I think they're probably going to be the front runners to win the whole thing in a month.
Yeah.
I'll
say this. The way that they guarded today, I thought really stood out, and I thought was really important because when Reed gets back and you can run out those lineups with Silas, Solo Ball, Braylon Mullins, Alex Caravan, and Terrace Reed, it puts you in an impossible position defensively. If you try to switch everything with Terrace Reed's out there, you could just throw the ball into him every time that he ends up with a little guy on him. You can't switch everything with Terrace Reed out there. If you try to guard them, like part of the reason why Kansas had to switch everything is because you can't have a guy like a Bryson Tiller. I'm not just calling him out. It's any 4-man. Illinois wasn't able to do it when it was when it was Mirkovic, and Arizona wasn't able to do it, which is why they had Koa Pete. They cross-matched and had Koa Pete guarding Jalen Stewart. You can't have a 4-man chasing Caravan around screens, but the 4-man can't chase Braylon Mullen around screens. So like you have to change the way that you play to be able to match up with them, which is going to make them easier for them to guard you. It just once they're at their peak, I don't know what you do to stop them defensively. If Silas gets going and Reed gets healthy, that what they can do offensively is just I don't. What do you do, Norm? What do you do? You're the coach. You have game plan for stuff. What do you do?
I think this. I think if you can do flat hedge or drop coverage on them, force Silas and Malachi to be more scorers and be able to stay with the shooters, I think you could have a chance. Now, you got to have rim protection to do that. I think you could have a chance because the one thing they may be missing somewhat is like a Castle, a guy that can put it on the deck and just attack the basket. They really don't have a guy like that. Now they run so much good stuff and they got
can it
so
be
much
Silas?
Good movement.
Do you think it can be Silas?
I think it can be. I think it can be Silas because Silas is very good at getting the mid range, like Tristan Newton. He's very good at getting the mid range and getting to the basket. He didn't do much of that tonight because Kansas was switching everything, so it wasn't as easy to get downhill.
Yep. All right. Listen, go ahead, T-Rob.
No. You go. We was talking about that guy getting to the basket, and I kind of think I read a couple of things. That was one of the things people was looking for Ball to do coming into the season because last year I think 80% of his shots, maybe more, was off assisted. So he would just catch and shoot. And this year he's putting the ball a little bit more on the floor, and I kind of don't like it. So I kind of feel like that's what's messing with his shooting percentage and changing his game because he's trying to play more in between. I wanted him to be that guy. So, that's a question mark for me also. Who's going to be that guy to get in the middle for them, call some attention.
Yeah, I think it'll come. I'm feeling really good about where UConn is right now.